Hey, this is Dan again with emergencyfoodwarehouse.com. Today what we're going to do is actually show you the setup of the big Berkey. Now the same setup procedure applies to all of the Berkey filters, but the big Berkey is the one we've got here. So it really comes in a pretty small box. When you open it up, you actually have one container somewhat put into the other one. I've just set it up here so that you can get a good idea as to how it looks. The first thing they tell you to do is wash everything out. We've already done that, and I'm sure you don't want to watch a video of me washing something. Not too exciting. But as far as putting this thing together, there's the base, which essentially is what holds the clean water. And the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put the spigot on here. It's pretty much just a screw-on spigot. Nothing terribly exciting or difficult to do. Just put it through the opening. There's a washer that goes on the back, or a gasket. And then you just, you can hand tighten it pretty easily to get it a nice tight seal here so that there's no water leakage. I guess you could use a wrench and tighten it up a little bit if there's any leakage, but I'm just going to do it by hand for now, just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so as you look inside, that's how it looks. Nothing fancy. So the next step in the process is going to be actually dealing with the filters. The big Berkey comes with 2 of the black filters, and it is capable of holding 4 filters. I don't know if you can tell, but there's 4 openings on the bottom here. Those are upgrades. I think it's $109 to get an extra 2. The main difference is it's not going to make the water any more clean, but it will increase the throughput speed. So one of the first things we actually have to do with these black filters is prime them. When they come from the factory, you want to prime them, which essentially means to clean them out of the factory process. So essentially, there's a little gasket here, which you put onto the opening, which allows the water through it. And then literally all you do is hold this up against a sink or a faucet. Whoops. Because you gotta hold it pretty tight. And I don't know if you can tell, but you see the water coming through the filter here? So essentially, now we've already primed this once, but the first time we did this, there was actually some of the black charcoal coming out of the filter itself. And you really have to kind of hold it up fairly tight, otherwise it's going to squeak out and squirt on you like it's been doing here for me. But for the most part, that's the process. You want to go ahead and prime it until there's no more sediment or carbon particle coming out of the filter. The water should be pretty clean. So that's pretty much it. That's what that little round gasket is for. The next thing you're going to want to do is actually install this onto the base. And it's really just a matter of fitting it through one of the openings and then attaching the same wing nut, if you will, to the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. But essentially that's the process there. And since we've already primed this once before, I'm just going to finish the installation here and not necessarily go through the priming process for the second one. There's no real value in showing you me doing the same thing twice. So like I said, screw on the wing nut, straighten it out. Exciting, huh? Now, if you had the 2 extra filters, you would fill up the other 2 holes with that. But since we don't, we've just got the base model. They actually come with the individual plugs, which you can use to plug up those 2 holes to make sure that all the water goes through the filters themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Again, it's not real rocket science here. You just want to make sure that those holes are plugged up. There is a little washer on the end of this, which helps make sure you get a nice watertight seal. Okay, so that's basically it. I don't know if you can see that, but essentially this part of the process is done, and we can actually set it directly onto the clean water base. The last thing is we just want to attach the little handle to the lid. It's a little tiny screw. Simplest way to do it is to push it through. Whoops. Sorry about that. Grab the handle itself, and there's a nice little metal threading on it, so it should screw on pretty easily. And that's probably tight enough for now, but there is a little screw here. You can use a little small screwdriver to tighten it up. For the most part, that's really what it takes to go ahead and build your Berkey filter. This is the big Berkey. The other ones are larger and again hold more filters. But again, that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm actually going to use it and filter some water. Now, to make sure I have enough room, you can't exactly fill the top without it on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and use the hose here and just start filtering through. Again, this is tap water, and you can certainly use other water sources, rainwater collected or whatever you may happen to do in your survival situation. Now I'm just going to go ahead and stop right there for now. Put the lid back on. And essentially, as I lift this up, there should be a certain amount of water dripping through as it goes through the filters. So it's not an immediate, really fast flow system. You'll have to fill it and let it drain through those filters. But essentially, I just wanted to show you how you went ahead and filled it. And then after a while, the bottom base will have the water in it, and we can use the spigot to drain out the clean water. So that's the big Berkey. If you've got any questions, get in touch with us. Thanks very much. Hey, this is Dan again with EmergencyFoodWarehouse.com. Today what we're going to do is actually show you the setup of the big Berkey. Now the same setup procedure applies to all of the Berkey filters, but the big Berkey is the one we've got here. So it really comes in a pretty small box. When you open it up, you actually have one container somewhat put into the other one. I've just set it up here so that you can get a good idea as to how it looks. The first thing they tell you to do is wash everything out. We've already done that, and I'm sure you don't want to watch a video of me washing something. Not too exciting. But as far as putting this thing together, there's the base, which essentially is what holds the